Okay, good afternoon. I am Jaria Lange. I am the Special Projects Coordinator here at the Virgin Islands Council on the Arts. Along with me today is Director Kelch, and we have Ms. Richardson from Property and Procurement. She is going to take us through the process of applying for a DUNS number and registering your number on SAM.gov. So any questions that you have for us, you can ask them for us on Facebook, and then I'll have her answer them. Okay, so Ms. Richardson.
Hi, pleasant good afternoon. My name is Ms. Sharmila Richardson. I am the Director of Human Resources with the Department of Property and Procurement. I also assist with the vendor management division, which is currently under our procurement division. The Director of Vendor Management is Ms. Akila Fret. She conducted the first training that you guys, VI Council of the Arts, had in July, and today I will be assisting her with that process as I basically did this part of the vendor maintenance system for roughly 2 years with the department. So currently, of course, it is known that in an ongoing effort to properly manage disaster recovery funding, and to improve the process benefit of the people of the Virgin Islands, the Department of Property and Procurement has implemented a new process in updating its vendor maintenance systems. This is our new division under the procurement division, I'm sorry. And as such, all vendors doing business with the Virgin Islands, they are required to follow certain processes and submit required documents. And one of those requirements is to register with SAM.gov. Now, in order to register with SAM.gov, one must have what is called a Data Universal Numbering System, which is short for DUNS. In this slide, I actually have the website where you can find the DUNS information that you can go ahead and obtain a DUNS number. This is what the federal website will look like when you do click on the link that I showed previously. And please keep in mind that this is a federal website and it is free. There should be no type of solicitations. You should not be engaging in any of those stating that you have to pay. Both websites, Dun and Bradstreet and SAM.gov, they are both free. So what is a DUNS number? As I stated previously, the Virgin Islands government is a substantial recipient of federal funds, and as a result, our vendors are required to register with Dun & Bradstreet to obtain a DUNS number. This number is a unique 9-digit identifier for federal financial assistance applicants, as well as recipients and their direct subrecipients. So DUNS number applies to agencies with grants, cooperative agreements, loans, and other type of financial assistance that a non-federal entity receives or administers in the form of a grant or cooperative agreement. It's also for our contractors, anyone that is basically receiving any type of rendering payment for any type of services are required to obtain a DUNS number and register with SAM.gov. So, I'm sorry. Who's required to have a DUNS number? Like I just basically stated, it is required or it is used to track our federal money. So any individual in terms of receiving federal grants or credit with a lender, government contracts, local or state bids, any of those entities or small business owners, nonprofit organizations, partnerships, whomever, throughout the US, the UN, European Commission, anyone, they will be required to obtain a DUNS number. When registering to obtain the DUNS number, there is documentation that is needed, 2 required documents, and these documents have to have at least a physical address on them. So when you've already entered all of your information, at the ending, it will require you to upload 2 documents showing your physical information that you submitted previously, to confirm that your address is valid to continue with the process of obtaining the DUNS. A DUNS, obtaining a DUNS, it doesn't take at least more than 24 to 48 hours once you have updated or uploaded the correct information that is needed. So these are examples of accepted documentation. For businesses, you can use your articles of incorporation, your tax identification confirmation letter, or your employer identification number confirmation letter, which is your EIN. If you have a trade name, you can use your trade name certificate, your lease agreement, a utility bill. It doesn't have listed business license, but we have, I have in the past used business license for individuals and it was successful. So the business license can also be used. For individual documentation, if you're trying to obtain a DUNS number as an individual, your lease agreement, utility bill, car insurance, an invoice for your business, or like I stated, the business license can be used on here if it's like a sole proprietorship. But these are the documentations that you will need. I'm going to stress that it has to have that physical address that you will be using. They don't accept mailing addresses. So those documents must have your correct legal business name and your current physical address when obtaining the business license, or trying to obtain a business. I'm sorry, not a business license, a DUNS number. Before I move on to the SAM.gov, if I can share, I'm sharing my screen, so I'm going to show you guys basically what the process is or how it goes through to obtain a DUNS number, if I can. Um, Let me move this over here. Ooh, no, this isn't going to work. I'm going to use this screen. Let me use my Google Chrome that I can do that. So um, okay. So this is what the screen looks like. This is what your screen should look like when you use the link to Dun & Bradstreet. To obtain a DUNS number, you're going to go to Begin DUNS Search / Request Process. And here in the territory, you will select the first one, which is United States of America, and click on Continue. So I'm just going to make up a business name just to show how it's done. So let's use Sam's Automotive. So it states the street and the city, but it's not a requirement. You don't have to put in that information. I normally do. I'll put either the individual's physical address or their mailing address, but it's not really required. You just will put your state, which we will put VI. Phone number, it's not a requirement. And then we would just we will do the verification code that is inside of the box. PCR.
Okay, Ms. Richardson, I have one question for you from
Okay.
Facebook. The question is, what do you suggest if an individual only has invoices but no other accepted documents?
Realistically, I can't say, because like I stated, it has to be two form of documents that are submitted. If that individual has a utility bill, if they can, or I have had that situation in the past, and what I have suggested to the vendor was to contact Dunn's customer service to see if they will require or if they would accept it being. But the requirements are two documents with the legal name of the vendor and the legal name of the vendor and the two documents showing that their physical address is the same as the one that they actually submitted while submitting the to obtain the DUNS number. So I really can't say because that is on DUNS to make that decision as to if that is all they will accept.
Okay.
Okay. So with me using the name Sam's Auto Repair, I just picked the name. Of course, it will bring up all of the different institutions or a few that has that one SAM inside of it, but none of these are ours. So we are actually trying to request a new DUNS number. So down to the bottom, it says request a new DUNS number, and we will click on that. That same page that I just showed you, it shows you before you continue what is needed, the documentation, the examples of accepted documentation that is needed for you to submit your request. So even before you begin, it shows you what is needed in order for your request to be submitted. So we will continue. So we have here, we will click on federal government contracts or grantees, DUNS number support. And under here, we are creating a new DUNS number. You also see you have, if you already have one, you want to update your DUNS, existing DUNS. That's like if a company changes their name, they can go ahead and update their information. You have DUNS number search or lookup, SAM entity registration error. So this here could be like in the event you are trying to enter your information and it's given you're getting a error message on SAM, you can use that. So it has different customer response centers here, but we are creating a new DUNS number. So this is the one we will select. And you have two different selections. You have whether it's within the United States, Puerto Rico, or US Virgin Islands, or if it's outside. We're within, so that's the one we will select. Again, before you proceed, it brings up all of the information once more, letting you know that it needs to have your full legal name and your current physical address and the documents that can be used or that are accepted. We will proceed. So we will start off with an email. I will use my email address. And this email address is the one you would want to use, a valid email address, because this is where they will be sending you the information in terms of when your DUNS number has been created. I can honestly say I have never seen anywhere they have sent like in terms of notifying you that okay, the documentation that you submitted was not, accepted or anything like that. So I always, suggest to vendors to stay on it, make sure, continue checking their emails to see if they get any type of correspondence. If not, at least within 48 hours, they can notify me. We can contact DUNS together, or I will have them contact DUNS customer service to see what is the situation. And usually, when they do call, if they haven't received, the confirmation stating that the DUNS number has been created, they will notify them. Well, your documentation that you submitted wasn't accepted or vice versa. So we good for
Miss
now.
Richardson, another question. I think you just answered it though. But someone asked, what's the typical turnaround on a DUNS application?
I can honestly say DUNS, the only way you would see that it's a little behind is if they are overwhelmed with requests. But a DUNS number, I say usually within 24 to 48 hours. In my experience of assisting individuals, within 24 to 48 hours, individuals have received their information.
Okay. I just wanted to remind, anyone viewing that we are live on YouTube as well, if you wanted to share that with anyone. Okay. So back to
Okay,
you, Miss Rich.
so we're gonna go ahead and we'll use Sam's. So let's say this person has a trade name. So Usually with a trade name, it will be the person's legal name and then the business name. So we'll do it like that. So yes, let's use Samuel Ortiz. Please keep in mind, this is just a dummy exercise. This isn't someone's real information. And then we will have the trade name as Sam's Automotive Services. We will put the company's number 999. So then we will put the physical address. So let's use Sam Street 1234. Our business city, we will use St. Thomas. Business state, you will scroll down and you will see US Virgin Islands. Your code 00802. We know our physical addresses are under 00802. And the country will be United States. Legal structure, you will state what type of business is it, whether it's a limited liability company, a limited partnership, a corporation, sole proprietorship. So this would be a sole proprietorship. State of incorporation, again, the Virgin Islands. CEO name, Sam Ortiz. CEO title, you have all sorts. I usually use the owner of the business or a manager, but you have all sorts. And keep in mind, all of the ones that you see with the red tab on the side is what you have to, it is mandatory that you fill those fields. Home-based business, yes. Number of employees, we'll say 3. This business, the date business started, that information isn't mandatory, it's just there. But all of the fields that have the red at the corner, those are mandatory. So we go to next. This is taking a while to load. Okay, so we're on this page. So this here is where you have additional owners to your business that you would like to have as well for the business. You can add them. We don't have any of those, so we will just move to next. The only owner we have is Samuel Ortiz. So here we are. You will need to attach your 2 documents. So here's where you will go to choose file and you will attach those 2 documents needed. Seeing that this is a sole proprietorship, he can use his trade name certificate and business license. If he has his EIN confirmation letter from the IRS, that can be used as well. A lease agreement can be used, utility bill, any of those stuff can be used once it shows that the same physical address that I just entered, which was Sam Street 1234, is actually on those documents. So you will choose file, and once you upload those 2 files, then you will click on submit. And that is basically, I don't think it may go through for me because I didn't actually attach other attachments, but I just want to show what it looks like when it's submitted. Okay, yes. So see, it's telling me that the attachment is required. So I'll just use. I don't want to do that. But yes. So I don't want to attach anything because it's actually going to go through. But once you click on submit, you will receive a picture. You receive the confirmation stating that it has a case number, and it will tell you that your case has been submitted, and that's that. So the done process is very easy, less than 5 minutes once you follow the steps to go through. We do have guides for this information that we can share. Currently, we are updating the SAM.gov guide because the SAM.gov page, everything has changed very drastically. So Director Fred, she is currently working on updating the new guide for SAM.gov. But we do have guides to assist individuals with this, and myself and Miss Fred here in the St. Thomas district. And then we have our vendor management assistant, Mrs. McSween, in our St. Croix district, is always open to assist if needed. So that's basically it for the Dun & Bradstreet, the DUNS number, obtaining a DUNS number, or submitting your request to obtain a DUNS number. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, I do have I think this is for us, but maybe you can answer too. Can a Virgin Islander who resides on the mainland apply for VI grants. I don't know about anyone else, but one of our requirements is that you have to be a resident of the Virgin Islands. So if you're living on the mainland, I don't know if that will consider you a resident of the Virgin Islands. But
Right.
that's for VICA grants. I don't know about anyone else.
I am not certain in regards to anyone with their grants either. We don't do grants at property and procurement, so I wouldn't have that information. So I'll move forward. So like I stated previously, in order to register for SAM.gov, which is one of the requirements to conducting business with the Virgin Islands government, you start off with the DUNS number. Once you have obtained that DUNS number, then you will go ahead and register to become active with SAM.gov. So this used to be what the page looks like, but this isn't it anymore. Again, we're keeping in mind that it is a federal website and it is free. We have had individuals who have contacted us telling us that they had to pay $599 for SAM.gov. That is not so, by no means necessary. The website is free. It's a federal website and it's free. So that's why in my slides I actually put what the page should look like. That way when you get there, if it doesn't look correct, you know, okay, this is not the page. Let me come up. This is not what I'm supposed to be looking at. This is not what it looks like anymore. I will show you guys what it looks like now. But yeah, I can go to that. So for SAM.gov, this is what the SAM.gov page looks like now. It has changed, and before, with SAM.gov, where once a vendor, say a department is conducting business with a vendor and they ask them for, their DUNS number to make sure that they're registered with SAM, all they had to do was just put in the information and it would come up telling them whether the individual was active or not. However, that has changed since they have the new website, and now you actually have to have a profile with SAM in order to go in and do all of your searching to make sure that the entities are registered and what have you. So this is what the SAM.gov new website looks like. To sign in, this is what it would start off with. In creating an account, it would request your email address. It will request, whichever language of your preference, and then you will submit. Once you submit, it's going to send a link to the email address that you put in to confirm that the email address is valid. And then once you have done that, then it will take you through the process of just putting in your basic information and selecting a way that you would like for your confirmation codes to be sent. So for me, for my account, I actually have my preference as text messages. So every time I log in, it pops up telling me that we sent a code and they send a code to my phone. That way I have to put that code in order to get into it. So it has different ways. It has where they could give you a list of 10 codes that you can keep. I always select this way that I have, which is the phone number, a cell phone number, a valid cell phone number that a text message can be sent. It's way more easier. You can misplace all of those 10 codes in that type of stuff. So I always select this way whenever I'm assisting vendors. It makes life way much easier for all of us.
Okay, Ms. Richardson, I just saw some questions that I've seen them before. Someone asks, for me, every time I get past the USA option, I get an error message stating that my browser is not compatible The guy at Office Max opened it in Chrome and said, I have Microsoft 10, so I should go through. What should I do?
So I would tell you to try Firefox. Try the Firefox browser. If you're still having a situation with that, I will leave my name and my number at the end of the training that you can contact me and you can always come in and I can assist you. Is this for the SAM registration or for DUNS? Because currently I'm a big fan of Firefox, but currently with me sharing my screen, I'm actually using Chrome. So I'm assuming that her Microsoft needs to be updated, hence why it's not going moving forward. But if she tries Firefox and is still having the same situation, then of course any of us here can assist her.
Okay, and the other question is pretty similar. She said, I agree with Miss Lydia. Dunn says my browser is incompatible. I tried Miss Richardson's steps before, and my page shows up a bit different. She has more items in the address that are underlined and required. I don't have the name. I don't have the option to select the state from a list. I also cannot choose the U.S. as a business country.
Can I ask what can one of them put the website that they are using for these two entities?
Let me see. I will ask. This is on Facebook. So
No
if you
problem.
guys can just list the link that you're asking Ms. Richardson about, and we can take a look at it. Either
Most
Miss
definitely.
Francis or Miss Charles, the ones that ask the questions. Okay. So when I post the link, I'll let you know.
No problem. So this has changed drastically, like drastically, the SAM.gov page. Well, just the beginning role, I must say. So we are on my workspace. So if a individual does have a DUNS number, we will go to search and then I will put in either the DUNS number or the cage code to just confirm that they are registered with SAM. I will use property and procurements. I'll use our DUNS number to just show what it looks like. If I can just find it. Give me 1 minute. Oh, I needed to have that on hand. Okay, so property and procurement done is 001. So this is what it looks like when, wait, what did I do? Sorry. So this is what it looks like when a vendor gives us the information and we search it. So we're able to find the information. So you see this is active, we are active, and our registration is active until March 30th, 2022. If we click on the blue link, it brings up all of the information. Usually, I will assist individuals or I will tell them, to go ahead and download a PDF version, and this is what it will look like. And this is what they will send to the different entities if needed. So if I'm assisting anyone and we get the final confirmation stating that their stuff is active, I go in and I will download this PDF and I will send it to them. That way they can send it to whichever department that they are conducting business with. So that's basically how the different departments or entities will search to ensure that these individuals are active with SAM. To actually, we're going to go back to the whole page, my workspace. So now to actually register an entity, we will click on register entity. And this is what it starts like. So this is what the screen used to look like before. You will come down, it shows the different registration overviews. You will have the core data, you'll have the assertions, representation and certification, points of contact, and then you will click on start registration. This is just basically information showing you what will be needed. The following information: your DUNS number, your legal business name. So what I always request of vendors when I am assisting them with their SAM registration, we I ask them to print out a copy of just how they got that email from Dun and Bradstreet stating that congratulations, your DUNS has been created. The reason being is because these systems, they intertwine, and it's very, 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 very sensitive in terms of how you enter the information. Whereas sometimes even in the word St. Thomas where it has a dot, if Dun and Bradstreet does not have that dot when they forward you, because they're going to forward you your DUNS number, and then they're going to forward you your legal business name, your physical address. So that is how you have to put it in SAM. And even the smallest dot in St. Thomas, I remember my first time doing it, I just kept getting this error message, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? I'm putting everything in wrong. And when I contacted them, they stated that that dot in St. Thomas was the problem, because when Dun and Bradstreet's in their files, they did not have that dot. So you'll also need your taxpayer identification number, which is either your EIN or your social security number if you are an individual. Keep in mind, this also is very, very, very sensitive, because the taxpayer identification number has to match the legal business name that you are using. You cannot use your business name and you have an EIN number for the business, but you are using your social. When you submit registration for this process, the first place that this information goes is to the IRS, and they will be the ones to validate or let us know if it was successful or it failed in terms of the information that you submitted. So your information has to match. So if you have a 1099 or a W-2, your tax information, whichever, you can always work with that as well, because that's needed. They also request of you your bank's information, your checking or savings, whether it's a checking or a savings, your routing number, that type of information. The NATO Commercial and Government Identity Code, which is a CAGE, NCAGE code, that basically just states what type of businesses it is, and then that's something that can be googled, whether it's a landscaping services, janitorial services, construction services, whichever type of business you have, you can always Google to see what type of code. So you Google NATO code for janitorial services, and by all means, it comes up, and that will be the code that you will use. Okay, so we're going to click on continue. So the first thing that is asked is what type of entity are you registering? Whether it's a business or organization, US federal government, US state government, US local government, tribal government, foreign government. So majority of my vendors, we use business or organization. I've also assisted government agencies, and we have used US local government. With this, when you are a US local government, or if it's a department or agency, a document that is required is what is called administrator entity notarized letter. So that letter basically has to state who is going to be the administrator of the entity conducting the services of registering and doing all services through SAM.gov. That entity administrator letter is, it has to be notarized, and it is going to be needed. So even if you click on, and I can show you, even if we click on US local government, and then if the next question is where are you registering this entity to do business with the US government, you have two different options. You want to be able to bid on federal contracts or other procurement opportunities. You also want to be able to apply for grants, loans, and other financial assistance programs. Majority of the individuals, this is what they use. I will say through VI Council of the Arts, it will be the second one, which is to federal assistance opportunities like grants, loans, and other financial assistance programs. So let's go with the second one. Next. So this just basically states the purpose of the registration, federal assistance awards only, and then it tells you which sections you will be required to fill out. The core data, representations and certification, points of contact. That's it. Because it's that easy. It's just the local government. If it was a business, it will be more. So next. This is the first page, and this is the page that once you can pass this page, you should be smooth sailing. So, like I stated, I always tell vendors to keep that email from Dun and Bradstreet stating, "Congratulations, your DUNS number has been created," because you have to submit and put in the information just how that email states it. You have to put it in here in order to move from this page. Once you've put in all of the information, the legal business name, your address, and all of that stuff, then you click on next. I don't have a DUNS number that I can use, but yes, if you get past this page, for the because I selected the local government, you won't get, once you click on next, even if once your information is correct and you click on next, it will automatically tell you about the entity administrator letter. So SAM.gov will send you an email requesting that information. And once you send it to them and they verify that everything is correct, then they will give you the go to move forward. If it is I'm gonna go back. If it is a business or organization, so see here, it's changed. It's more sections to be submitted, and the purpose of registration is all awards. So you'll have the assertions, you'll have the representation and certification, and a point of contact. It's the same thing. This is the first page. Once this is passed, and then you will be able to move forward where you will need your EIN information, your bank account information, and then it's just basic questions to be answered. The process is a bit tedious. I will say to take at least 30 to 45 minutes out of your time to have it completed. It's not as easy as done in Bradstreet where it's just 2 pages. It is couple questions that they will be asking that will require you to be very focused in what you are answering. If anyone has a DUNS number or their information that they want to use, we can do that, but not on live. But yes, so this is what the SAM.gov information looks like. This is the DUNS core data page. Any questions for me, Miss Lynch?
No, no new questions.
Okay. So yes, once you pass this page, it basically is smooth sailing. Like I stated, keep in mind you have to be very careful in checking to make sure that your city, if it does have that in between, for like St. Croix and stuff, they may use, and sometimes they use Kings Hill or Christiansted, and they go straight to VI. They don't use St. Paul. So all of that has to looked at and make sure that it is entered correctly here in order to move forward. Or else you will continuously keep getting an error telling you that something is incorrect. So I will go back. I'll cancel this. I'm going to go back to the workspace. So those are basically the only two functions that we really use currently in SAM.gov. Like I stated, it has changed a little, so we are doing over the guide to assist individuals. But those are really just the two functions that we use: the workspace, where you can register the entity, and the search, where we can assist individuals in, if we are, of course, with vendor maintenance, when individuals submit their documents and they submit their SAM.gov registration, we will use the DUNS number or the cage code. If they have a cage code, then we automatically know, okay, they are active because the cage code is given through SAM. when you are actually actively registered. But we use that information to ensure that the individuals are active so we can move forward with creating their vendor profiles. So that's it for this.
Okay. So I don't have, let me check one more time.
No problem. Keep in mind as well with SAM.gov, the registration, you renew your registration yearly. And I can say SAM is they send that information out like 3 months in advance, letting you know that your renewal is currently if it's on it coming up, or you can even go ahead from that early as 3 months in advance and go ahead and update your registration. So I always try to assist vendors, but I also try to have them sit with me so they can see what the process is and how it's done. That way, when it's time to renew, they can actually, do their registration or renew their registration themselves. The good thing is with it is that all of the information that they submitted previously will still be there. All they'll have to do is update anything if anything changed within the year, but everything is still there. All of the answers to their questions, all of that information is still there. With the one of the challenges that I know a lot of vendors have been having with their SAM registration is the fact of their address. So the SAM.gov, they use the addresses based on the USPS Postal Services addresses on their site. And of course, in the Virgin Islands, we have land everywhere. So when individuals submit their registration, that is one. After it passes IRS, if that is successful, that their IRS information is correct, their EIN and their taxpayer information is correct, then it goes to what's called DLCA cage code. Cage code, normally the challenge, like I stated, has been where they would send back and tell them, that their address, they're not finding their address through USPS Postal Services. So with that, what I always tell individuals when I assist them from the beginning, from the jump with the registration, have on hand their lease or their deed showing their physical address that we entered in the system, or their certificate of good standing, that type of information. Because when they do send them that email, they give them 3 days. After that 3 days, they will push that registration back into submitted status, so they will have to start over. So they give them 3 days to submit that information, but a good amount of my vendors have been successful where they will submit the lease or the deed showing that this is actually their address. And, once they submit it to the representative who would send them the email within a day or two, then they will send back and let them know that, okay, their registration has become active. That has been the biggest challenge in terms of the addresses, because again, our addresses are not actually in the USPS Postal Services on their website. Some individuals have learned that their addresses have been updated. I had one that was Thomasville, and I think for years she was just using Thomasville, St. Thomas VI. But when we first started, I sent her to the postal services, and someone there was able to assist her and let her know that it actually is 7,000 Thomasville, St. Thomas VI. So some of them, the USPS Postal Services, the actual post office can assist them with it, but we have a lot of land all over the place, plots, this and that, 1 and 2, quarters 1 and 2, all of that information. So to confirm that it is so, the lease or the deed definitely is what they will submit to DLCA cage code, that they can justify or confirm that it is correct and activate their registration. So please keep that in mind.
Okay, and the last question that we had, the same person, she said she tried with Internet Explorer and Chrome, and they didn't work.
But what is the address? Is she using what is the address that is being used? So this is the address for SAM.gov. SAM.gov /content/home. You can put it in the chat if you can. That is the one for SAM. And then the one for DUNS is, I'll put that one here. So it's fed.gov.dnb.com/webform/. Because I'm using Google Chrome right now. I also have it up on my Firefox. So I'm not sure why she's having that.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell her to just
messages.
we work with her offline and
Right.
figure out.
And like I said, you can always give her my contact information or Miss
Oh yes,
Brett.
let me list your contact information. What's a number that they can reach you or someone at PNP?
340
Okay.
774 0828. And they
Okay.
can ask for Miss Akila Fret. That is the Director of Vendor Management. Or myself, Miss Sharmila Richardson.
Okay. So I'm gonna put the number on Facebook, so they can reach out to you.
Yes.
And ask you any further questions that they
Not
have.
a problem. That's no problem. And we are willing to set up appointments with them to assist them with whatever needed. We would definitely request of them to call us in advance so we could tell them what all documents to work with, because it will be a failing attempt for them to just come and then they don't have the documents required. We won't be able to do anything. They'll have to go and come back. So in advance, they can always call to make the appointment. That way we can tell them what all is needed. So when they come, we can get everything done.
Okay, so thank you, Ms. Richardson, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Alrighty.
Okay, so next we're gonna have the director of the Council on the Arts, Ms. Cecilia Kell. She's gonna take you through some general information on how to apply for the grant.
Good afternoon, and I must say thank you to Ms. Richardson for assisting us with that DUNS and SAM.gov training. But on to some general information about the VICA grant, which is, the deadline is August 31st. You have about a week or so to get your stuff together. The Virgin Islands Council on the Arts, the council is the primary funding agency for the arts in the Virgin Islands. We receive funding from the National Endowment for the Arts. Funds are distributed among the 3 islands. There are actually 2 application deadlines. So we have the annual grant, which is August 31st, and the mini grant, which is July 31st. General eligibility. All projects and programs must be based in the Virgin Islands. You must be in existence and active in the VI for at least 2 years at the time of application. If you're an organization, you must be nonprofit and you must have current nonprofit status, and you must be registered with the Lieutenant Governor's office. You will be required to submit your letter of good standing in your grant application. You must also have your tax exempt identification number. And if you have not received your nonprofit status, if it's still being worked on, or if you're still waiting for it to be updated, You can either submit under an umbrella agency like a fiduciary, or if you have the receipts, you can submit that, and then when you get your completed documents, you can upload those or email them to us. First-time applicants with the Virgin Islands Council on the Arts must submit a W-9 form. This form helps us to complete your payment package, so it's very important. All awarded grantees are required to come in. Well, that's a little different now because of COVID and stuff, but you will be able to sign your documents online. If you do not sign your documents within the 30-day period of receiving it, then your documents will be voided and you will not be eligible for your payments again. Your project must take place between November 1st and July 30th of the following year. Applications are only available on our website. You can't get a hard copy application. Application narrative should clearly outline how VICA funds will be used and must correspond with your budget. Although we just went over the training, I must reiterate that a DUNS number and a SAM.gov registration is needed before you apply. We have several program categories. General operating support is just increased up to $15,000. Project support is now up to $7,000. Arts and education has been increased to $5,000. Arts and underserved communities awarded is up to now $5,000. Technical assistance has gone up to $2,000, and mini grants are now $2,000. Organizations. If you are applying as a nonprofit organization, you need to submit with your application, job description, resumes, and other pertinent information for all personnel that is participating, that is going to be paid, that is going to be dealing with this particular project. We need a list of the organization board members and staff, your financial statements or annual report for your previous fiscal year if applicable, your articles of incorporation and bylaws, your IRS letters of tax exemption, list of activities with dates, locations for scheduling, and of course, once again, your DUNS number and SAM.gov registration. Let me go back to the list of dates. A lot of people, when they submit their dates, their tentative dates, or things happen throughout the year, that's fine. If your dates change, if your activities change, if you're doing something in a different period than what you've previously stated, you must submit a letter in writing to the council so that we can approve that change. If it's sent towards the end when you do your final report, it may not be accepted, and you may have to return that monies that you put towards whatever activity that changed. So I just need to say that again. You need to really make sure that if there are any changes, things happen. We're in a new time in our lives in the world, and so we do need these things in writing so that we can put them in your records. Individuals. The individual must be a resident and active in the VI for 2 years at the time of application. Same job description, pertinent information, resume, anybody that's going to be assisting you in this project as well as yourself. If the project is to take place in a school or on a school campus, we need a letter of endorsement from the school principal. And you must have submitted your final report if previously funded. And once again, you need to have your DUNS number and SAM.gov registration before you apply. Matching funds. So our grants require a 1-to-1 match. This does not have to be all cash. You can also match with in-kind services. In-kind services is just basically something that you get for free, that if you had to pay for it, you have a dollar amount equated to it. Your in-kind services may be a percentage of your space rental if you're utilizing a space within a space and the person is letting you use it for free. If you had to pay for that space, that would be what your in-kind dollar amount would be. Loan of equipment, somebody's borrowing a printer or, you know, some supplies for your project. If you had to purchase it, what would that purchase have cost you? Contribution of services, if you have a grant writer, accountant, somebody that's assisting you with your budget, once again, if you had to pay that person, that would now be charged to in-kind. Contribution of materials, the in-kind service cost must be based on fair market value and have direct value to the project. So you can tell us that you had an accountant assist you and the accountant charged you, you know, some $50 an hour or something like that. That's not necessarily for, you know, a base accountant, a fair market price for just, you know, doing your budget for an hour. So please keep it reasonable. Okay, VICA does not fund organizations without nonprofit status, completed projects or those in progress, grantees who have not submitted their final reports from previous grants, building renovations or capital expenditures, bad debt, entertainment costs, fines and penalties. We do not do scholarships, legal fees, instruments and equipment with a lifespan to exceed 1 year, individual after-school tuition and full-year tuition. We do, however, fund like summer intensive, professional development, workshops, that kind of thing. The board uses this criteria to review the grants. They're looking for artistic merit, integrity, and quality of project. They're looking for professional nature and stability of the organization, individual, the ability to carry out the project for which the funds are being requested, your ability to match the funds, demonstration of sound management, financial planning, and appropriate allocation of funds, community interest in and or demonstrated need for the program, demonstration of accessibility of projects and facilities to elderly, children, and disabled. Please keep that particular community in mind. I know that a lot of facilities and a lot of venues in the Virgin Islands are not necessarily handicap accessible, but there are some that are. And so, you know, when you're thinking about where you're going to do your project, we ask that you consider the whole demographic of the Virgin Islands and just don't alienate or isolate one particular section. Completeness and clarity of the application package and other criteria deemed important by the board. Writing a good narrative. The narrative is actually, besides your budget, one of the most important aspects of your grant, because the narrative is telling the board exactly what you're going to do with their money and how you're going to do it. So a good narrative should be able to answer the following questions. What is the project program for the funds are requested? Keep it really simple. You know, I want to, you know, do a project for kids. They're going to paint. We're going to do this. We're going to pay for brushes. We're going to pay for paint. Keep it simple. The fluff is really unnecessary because, you know, they're looking at maybe over 100 applications, and if they can look at your narrative and ascertain immediately what it is that you're doing, how you're doing it, and what you need to get it done. What specifically will the funds be used for? Will you be able to implement this project even if VICA doesn't fund it at 100%? Will the project continue after funding is utilized? And what impact do you see the project having on your community? The final report package. So if you get awarded the grant, you will be required to complete a final report at the end of the year. Final reports are due August 1st. And in those final report packages, we are going to need, there is a final report form that is in the same portal as your grant application, but you're going to need to submit your canceled checks or receipts to show what you paid for, how you utilize the money, as many photographs, programs, posters, anything that you can show proof that this project took place. Remember too, there is a tagline that you have to put on all your documentation with VICA's wording and the National Endowment's wording. We need all of that to be submitted with your final report, along with your final report form. Failure to submit a timely final report hampers you to be able to potentially not apply for up to 3 years. So it's very important that you complete your final report and it is accurate. All this information and more in detail, you can find it on our website, www.vicouncilonarts.org, or you can give our offices a call for technical assistance on St. Thomas, 774-5984, or on St. Croix, 773-3075. Any one of the persons in the office can assist you. If you need to come in for technical assistance or to utilize a computer, please give us a call beforehand so that we can make the necessary arrangements so that you can do that safely. Ms. Lynch is now going to go over the actual application for you. If you have any questions, you can ask throughout, or you can throw them into the chat box and we can answer those for you. We have any questions, Jaria?
No, no questions. Oh, we do have a question for you. Where may I find the list of requirements that you gave, resumes, jobs, descriptions, board members, etc.? I don't see this on your website, or I don't see this on your website.
It's on the website under grant guidelines. I think they actually have to click on that link. Let me see if I could pull it up. Yeah, it's on the website under grant guidelines. Okay, Jerry, so you're up.
Okay, so I am Jaria Lynch. I am the Special Projects Coordinator here at the Council. So I'm just going to quickly go through the process of where you can find a grant and what it looks like. Oh, I need to share my screen. Okay, so first things first, you can find an application on our website. It is vicouncilonarts.org. And when you get there, you click on grant programs and services, and then you click on grant application. Then you click on complete now. Okay, so when you get to our grant portal, it shows you the grants that we have available. January 31st is a mini grant / technical assistance grant, and then August 31st is the annual grant. The only grant that will be open at this time would be, of course, the annual grant. And something to note, individuals and organizations can apply under one account sometimes we have an individual applying and then an organization, and they create two separate email accounts, two different accounts, and it becomes sort of confusing for them. So you can do this in one. You can create one account if you just go to settings and create an organizational and an individual account. Okay, so this is how you register. You put in your email address, you create a password, you complete all the necessary questions, and then you would create an account in which you can sign into. Always remember your password. If you do forget it, we can always reset it, but you can just always, write it down so you can always have access to it. Okay, so this is what an application looks like. But before I go to the application, when you sign up for your grant account, it's going to ask you to fill out an eligibility quiz. And this quiz, they ask you if you're a resident of the Virgin Islands, if you have a DUNS number, if is your DUNS number registered on SAM.gov. If you do not answer these questions, like let's say you don't have a DUNS number and you put no, it's going to show that you're not eligible. Okay, so you cannot, if you get a DUNS number, you can always go back and change your answer to become eligible. But don't just put in that you're eligible, because when the board reviews it, they will deny you. Okay, and another thing is to verify your email address. If you don't verify your email address, your application, it will not go through. The system needs a correct email address just so that we can see, you can get the information in a timely manner. Okay, so this is an example of one of our applicants. This is We from Upstreet, and this is what their eligibility quiz looks like. Are you applying as an individual or an organization? Do you have an active DUNS number? Are you in existence and active in the VI for a minimum of 2 years? Is your project VI based? Do you have current nonprofit status? If they put in no for any one of these, it would have shown that they're not eligible, but they are eligible. Have you submitted a final report if previously funded by VICA, which is very important. If you've applied before and you did not submit a final report, then we will need you to correct that. Either submit a final report or you'd have to wait your 3 years, your 3-year penalty. Okay. So this is what the application looks like. They're applying as an organization. We from Upstreet, your mailing address, the physical address, the contact person, the DUNS number is listed here, the project title, the narrative, like what Director Kelch mentioned. It states where the project is happening, when the project is happening. It's on Saturday, December 4th, 2021. And they're asking for $10,000. They have all the dates listed, the times, and the location. Okay, I do see some questions from Facebook. How would one go about scheduling a feasibility consultation with VICA? A phone head with requests for technical assistance suffices. Yes, you can just give us a call. And Danica David, we must have an active DUNS number before applying. Yes, you do have to have an active DUNS number before you can apply for the annual grant. Does an individual entertainer have to be involved in a nonprofit. No, you can apply as an individual. You don't have to be a part of a nonprofit to apply for the VICA grants. It will just be for project support. Okay, so back to the grant. This is all just demographic information, the population benefited, how many adults would benefit, how many children would benefit, how many artists are directly involved with the project. There's really no right or wrong answer. The population benefited by race, the population benefited by age. Okay, accessibility checklist, how many people, how many disabled people will benefit from your project? If you have ground level entry, ramped access, you just put in the number of people that will benefit. This is all demographic, the project descriptors. Okay, and then we get down to the budget section. He requested, we're from Up Street, they're requesting $10,000 for their overall grant. So in your initial expense breakdown, his adds up to $10,000. He's asking us for 10. This amount, it doesn't have to equal $10,000, but that's what your overall project would cost you. Okay, so he's asking VICA for $5,000 for personnel, $1,700 for marketing, and $1,000 for remaining operating expenses. Okay, so whatever you're asking VICA for, you need to just break it down. So he's asking VICA for $5,000 in personal artistic. When we go down to personal artistic, it shows the $5,000 that he's asking for. Okay, he's also asking VICA for $600 in travel. If we go down to travel, you see it adds up to $600. He has $200 in hotel, $300 in air, and $100 in ground transportation. Okay. So our grants, they are a 1-to-1 match, which is you can do half in kind, which is things that you would usually pay for that you got for free. So you can have, he's asking us for 10,000. He needs to show half in kind and half in a cash match. Okay. So he just breaks down everything. The left is what's funded by VICA. The right is what's funded by other sources. Okay. So if you go to the application, personal artistic, it's 5,000. He breaks it down. He's paying his musicians, his space rental. Someone else is paying for that. That's $300. His travel, VICA is paying for $600. His marketing, VICA is paying for $1,400 and someone else is paying $300. And his remaining operating expenses, he's asking VICA for set construction, set and props, equipment rental, and other. That adds up to $3,000 from VICA. And his other sources are paying for $1,000. Okay, so when you get to the end of the application, it adds it up for you automatically. So it shows that he's asking VICA for 10,000 and it shows what's funded by other sources. And he does have some stuff listed in kind that should take him to the full $10,000 to meet the 1-to-1 match. Okay. So that's what the budget looks like. Okay. And then for his supporting documents, he submitted their letter of good standing and their W-9 form. Okay, we do have some questions online. Okay, someone answered them already. What is the process for applying under an umbrella company for individuals who have a registered LLC? Okay. You have to contact the fiduciary to get approval and then apply to our grant using their DUNS number. Okay. So once you submit your application, it comes to us, the board will review it, and then you'll go back. I can show you guys what that looks like. Okay, if you are awarded, then you will get a letter from the Director Kelch. You will get a grant contract that states your award amount. You just initial each one. Okay, you'd sign it and you date it. And then you sign your voucher as well. And then once this comes to us, we process your payment, we send it to finance. And then the following year, this year, it will be your final report will be due on August 1st, 2022. You'll go back into your account and you will fill out your final report form, which would just show, how you spent the money, if you spent all of the grant funds. Okay, once again, your demographic information, how many disabled persons benefited from your project. Okay, and then you would show proof that your project actually happened, receipts, check stubs, anything like that. Okay, paid invoices. We get a lot of invoices that are unpaid. We need paid invoices. Okay, so once you complete your final report, that is the end of the grant cycle. Okay. So any questions for me? Yes, I don't see any questions. But if you need to contact the office, you can contact the St. Thomas office at 340-774-5984. The St. Croix office at 773-3075. All of this information is online on our website at vicouncilonarts.org. Okay. Okay, so thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.